It's your buddy.
December 2nd.
Yep.
It is 5:36 and we will call this meeting to order. Okay. Do you want me to start this without?
Wait, you need to do a vote to open the public hearing.
Okay. So we're gonna, do I need a motion or can I just do it?
Make a motion
Okay,
or have someone do a motion to open
Okay.
the public
What's the
hearing.
motion? I'll open the public meeting.
I'll second that. And
All in favor?
yeah, all in favor of opening the public meeting? Aye.
Aye.
That's good enough.
All
That's
right,
good enough?
What?
Okay,
We've opened
we're in
it.
public.
just the vote to open the public hearing.
Yep.
Okay. So the purpose of the public hearing is we had a defect in our approach through all of the things for the special meeting. The town of Ashland will hold a public hearing on December 2nd, 2025 at 5:30 at the utility conference room at 6 Collins Street. The public hearing will address an article to be placed on the warrant for the upcoming December 9th, 2025 special meeting of the town. The purpose of such a meeting is to cure procedural defects relating to a warrant article passed at the 2025 special meeting of the town of Ashland that authorized the issuance of $2.2 million in bonds to finance the repairs of the Ashland Electric substation. Such procedural defects relate to the requirements to post the budget with the warrant, the timing, and notice of the bond hearing, notice of the budget hearing, and publication of the warrant. We missed a notice in the paper. That's what this is to correct. Any questions from anybody?
That was it, just one notice.
We missed a notice. They're making us correct that.
That's the only thing you did wrong?
Hey,
Are you
Thank
surprised?
thank you, David. I'm telling you, I'm surprised that's all we missed too.
Okay.
So,
So it held up everything else, okay. Okay.
It held up the finance.
it just held up the financing. We just have to correct that procedural mistake.
Were they just looking for that piece of paper and we didn't have it?
Yeah,
Okay.
That procedure needed to be corrected before we can sign for the loan.
right. So there'll be a special vote on the 9th of December at 5:30 at the Booster Club. So any questions from anybody?
How many months would you say we're delaying starting that project since we delayed starting the financing? Because let's just say the New Hampshire government tripped us up with some procedural item here. If we didn't have this,
If we didn't have this, we probably could have signed financing in September.
okay.
Correct.
So they, I forget, they voted in April. Okay, so.
We still had we had to,
Find the money.
yeah, we had to fund the money, basically. So we had to go through banks, you know, it wasn't just finding one bank, it was, so.
What are we voting for on the 9th, just to put it in the paper? Or?
Just to verify that the public knows that we had a procedural mistake and we are correcting the procedural mistake.
It's just a curative session
Okay.
that you're agreeing that we've cured the missing posting.
Okay, so we get the vote of yes with the
Mhm.
cool 3/5 or 3/5?
3/5
3/5.
Then will we be getting the financing in the calendar year of 2025?
Yes.
on the 15th, we'll be
On
signing.
the 15th, we'll be signing the papers.
That's the message.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay. Any further comments?
So we voted on the 15th, you'll be signing papers for the financing.
Yeah.
Voting on the 9th and signing.
Voting on the 9th, signing papers on the 15th.
15th, yep.
Okay,
Motion to close
Yeah.
the
so
public.
I need a motion to close the public hearing
I'll make the motion to close it.
and a second.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. We don't have to vote. We're done,
You're
correct?
done.
All right. Next item on the agenda is signing of the pilot agreement. This is the pilot agreement for Common Man Commons elderly housing.
Only need one signature on it,
Yeah,
but you take a vote to.
yeah. Well, look at the paperwork.
That's for their tax rate.
Yeah, that's for their, in lieu of taxes.
Well, why did this come up again?
It comes up every year.
Once a year.
So,
It's based on their income, you know,
Yeah.
what they,
oh, I see. So every year it's a different
Yeah.
amount.
Mhm.
Yeah,
based on the DRA gives the numbers to town clerk, and then she drafts the
Right.
document.
I'll need a motion.
Mhm.
Okay,
Right.
so the motion should,
Move to accept. Move to what?
Payments in lieu of taxes.
Move.
payment in lieu of taxes of $249,250. Oh, wait a minute.
No, it's
That's
13.
the rental
It's
income.
13.
It's 13,000.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
we should get more-
That's a heck of a discount.
Oh, there we go. Okay. So the amount of payment will be $13,734.41. Do I need a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item that's not on the agenda, the Grafton County Treasurer would like their money. They've billed us for $558,586 for taxes for this year. They would like their tax money by the 17th of December.
Wait a minute, how's that work?
She's gonna ACH it over.
Right, well, it's on the tax bill. Right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
on that we pay it, but taxes aren't due from everybody till what's the 22nd, 17th, no, 17th, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're asking to be paid, at the point we just collected it.
And if we don't have it in there, and by the 17th, we get hit with 10% fee.
Oh,
Wait, why is that? Wait a minute.
Who's running that place over there?
I can tell you who isn't. Ron, you're not going either.
No, I don't see that.
So I'm gonna make a motion that we authorize the treasurer to send the Grafton County tax out to the tune of $558,586.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Here's a pen, Andy, so you can sign the other one. You go.
Yeah.
Don't want the budget tomorrow. Don't want Becky upset at me. Man, I don't.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the acceptance of a donation to the Public Works Department of a 2025 X-Mark Radius E-Series zero-turn lawnmower. A gentleman's bought one. It's not working for him. It's too big a machine for him, so he's donating it to the
That's some
Public Works Department. They've got a lot of miles of road to,
details.
mow.
Does the public works want it?
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
Okay.
yeah,
I'm just checking, okay.
it's it's valued at $7,512.
Okay, and they will make use of it.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, yes.
it's a commercial grade.
Okay. Mower
It was just more mower than this
Didn't keep
gentleman
that.
wanted.
Anybody needed?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he loves Ashland. I think he lives in Holderness.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
Work with them like that. That's right.
Yeah. I'll make a motion to accept the donation of the mower.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Hi.
Aye.
So the donor doesn't want his name on
Oh, you can say it. Yeah,
I don't have the
it's Dr. Smead, I think.
Yeah, Richard Speed,
Richard J.
Amy-
Speed.
and he's up New Hampton.
Oh, New Hampton, sorry. Close by.
We give credit where credit's due.
Yeah.
So did I have any negative votes on that? So motion carries.
Nice.
I'll send him a nice little thank you letter.
Yeah.
Please do.
I did talk to him on the phone about it.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the default budget.
Default budget or budget?
Well, we've got the default budget on the first piece of paper. So the general default budget, general fund is $4,003,067. That's 0.80% over current year budget.
What was that number?
4 million?
No, the percent,
Oh, 0.8.
0.80.
0.80 increase over the current year.
Current year budget.
So the default budget is if we don't pass the budget, we go to
Right,
the default. That's what
Right.
that is, correct? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't understand why is it, why did it go up? There are mandatory things that.
Contract.
Well,
Contracts.
Contracts,
Really-
the
insurance
con-
contracts.
Contract.
Okay, understood.
Yep.
Can you repeat the number again?
Sure. 4,003,067.
400,067.
Mm-hmm. Okay, the water, is $399,086. That is 1.1% over current year budget, so I guess that's
Minus.
negative.
That
Okay.
minus 1.11.
Yeah,
So it's less than this year's budget?
Yep.
Okay.
yeah. Sewer is $837,113, and that is minus 4.09 over current year budget. And the electric default budget is $3,553,636. That's 1.28% over current year budget.
You want to take votes on all those?
Yeah, how do you want to do this? You want to do them individually?
Wrap it up. in one.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Marissa's on too, so
Okay. On the electric,
Mhm.
you look at the recommended budget that you agreed to, the manager's budget. For purchase of electricity. Do they have to purchase electricity?
mhm.
And you look at the managers and the departments and then you look at the default budget and it's considerably less, the default budget. Because the rates have gone up.
Right.
They have to buy electricity or we don't have electricity. So how is that handled with the default budget?
That'd be Marissa's question. Marissa, did you hear that?
She's blocked.
No, she's not muted or anything. I think when she generated it, it was to include the power purchase, because that's contract.
Right, no, I understand
So
that,
it's,
I understand that,
it's
but,
gonna short non-contracted items.
you know,
in a default
I
budget.
understand
Yeah.
what the reasons, I'm not questioning the numbers.
Yeah,
I'm just questioning
well,
What-
the net,
what happens if they voted, we ended up
with the default budget.
Yes, yes.
So
it's just how does it work?
all the contractual stuff will be met.
Right,
It's the not contractual stuff that we're gonna have to tighten the belts and
Mhm.
not spend.
Absorbs the loss.
Right,
Cut back on tree trimming and that kind of stuff, that's where that goes.
things that aren't contracted.
yeah, trimming's not gonna cover. it.
Maintenance
electric is
maintenance
pretty-
items that aren't contracted.
It was a lot
Yeah.
of money,
Well, there was some miscalculation. Well, you'll get to that in the budgets.
okay.
Are you
There
able
was-
to hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, there are technical difficulties. So Jenny, for your question on that, even though there's a contract in place for the purchase of power, when a default budget is created, you have to have a sum certain, with the contract being a variable based on purchase. We can't put in additional funds that weren't previously budgeted. So there was an error in the electric budget for 2025, which results in a over expenditure in our power purchase. But that being said, the default budget can't be based on a variable, and you see the same example in the ambulance contract. So the proposed budget has, I think, 240,000, but what's in the default is 190 because it's a variable contract. It's not a sum certain.
Okay, so,
I think Jenny's question is, we don't run out of electricity, do we?
basically, that's
So
what
you're
it is.
still
What happens-
obligated to pay. That's when you would have to pinch on the other items.
You
Um,
robbed Peter to pay Paul. Yeah.
I just,
Yeah.
I,
Yeah,
I,
no, that's,
but it's just.
no, that was a good catch.
Just,
Yeah.
you know, well, how does this work? How does this work? Because
Yeah.
there's gotta be a mechanism.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
So default budgets are the same budget as the prior year, with the exception to contracts that are already in place or one-time purchases that have already occurred. So that's why water and sewer went down. There's contracts in place in their defaults that actually decrease. So some of their bonds decrease, as well as
Yeah.
one-time purchases were removed. So those don't get put in again. But that's the general theme. It's the same budget plus or minus contracts and one-time purchases.
Okay, now the electric, that contract's already in place with the different. And the rates will be significant. So that's covered, I mean, that,
So the next default budget will have a more actual, some certain number that we're curing that mistake that was made in the 25 budget.
okay,
Is that correct?
Exactly. Yep. So as
Okay.
long as we have the proposed budget passes, then it'll be cured for the following year's default budget.
okay. All right. Thank you.
So Marissa, can they do one vote to adopt all of, or approve all of the defaults, or would you prefer it individual?
I'm fine with one vote just as long as each fund is said before the monetary value. So general fund is this, water fund is this. One vote's fine for all of them.
Okay. You have a question?
This is Michelle Roloff. I have a question about the electrical budget, since I understand it pretty well from crawling through it before that bond meeting. So,
Okay, is this the default budget? We're working on the default right now.
yep, I hear you.
Okay.
I'm just saying, you're saying we can't ask any questions about the actual budget?
We're moving
Not
on. to
yet.
We're
that
moving
next.
on to that
That's
next. This is the default budget.
Okay, so for me, as just a resident, I can't really understand what's in that default budget. Is it just the difference between the old power purchase and the new power purchase and a couple of other little things? Because that's a huge line item. So how does that fit in there, right? I'm looking at the numbers, hold on. The 1.8 million is what we had in the budget for power purchase. And then when they went through the budgets, they went for 2.47 million, right? So that's like,
That's the real number.
that's a huge number difference, right?
Yeah.
So people, so that is in the default budget now, that incremental?
No, that is not in the
That's what
default
I'm-
budget.
that's what I'm-
Because you can only use the numbers from the 25 budget
Right.
for the
so-
default budget.
So that's my point.
Yeah.
We
I'm
need
sorry.
to, be
Don't mean to have my
super
back.
clear to people that they cannot not vote that electric budget because the default is like $600,000 off. And so I think my question is, Marissa, can you help the poor taxpayer understand the revenue that, or I should say, you guys call it the utility, the user fees that are paid by the electric company, because the only thing anybody has to go off of is the budget. They don't have knowledge of the actuals, and we don't have the actuals from 2024 either. So it's super confusing to people. So we just need to know the actuals for the revenues for the electric company and make sure we understand how that's gonna get absorbed, because people are already asking, are we getting an increase? That's what I'm saying. We have to start, anytime we talk about electric, and we got $600,000 more in the purchase contract, we need to help people understand if that is gonna run right through their
Well,
electric bill.
once we close the year out, we,
Yeah, but we know that doesn't happen till almost, last year didn't happen till the end of January.
right, that's when you close it out, because we're a month behind in the buy of the power. So we just paid October's,
I think so.
and then November we pay in December.
Okay.
So you close out at the end of January, then you can actually run reports and publish where you ended for the year.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask my question a different way. We're gonna have people voting on the little pickup that we had on the electric bond. And we need to be able to have some questions answered, because my
Mhm.
spreadsheet says the rates are going up. And we don't want anybody to think that if
Okay.
that's not the case.
Well, the
We already told them they
rate,
are.
the
We told
rates,
them that last summer with a huge package.
so the rate study is, I think, getting fairly close to being done that we're paying for. So we'll have some real good info there.
But not before
You're
next
talking
week.
about- You're talking about the explanation of the wheeling charges. You know, like why all the extra.
You're talking about the entire budget, the electric budget, the
Well,
actuals.
that-
I'm just gonna ask this as the rate here. So my electric bill went up by 30%, right? I used to pay $4,000 a year, now I pay $5,500 a year. I'm a big consumer of Ashland Electric. I love it. I'm glad it's, running. I got a generator too. If you're gonna raise my rates again, I think you are. I don't need to know the exact number. I need to know, is it roughly 20%? Is it 10%?
Well,
And we're pretty close because we're 1 month away from the end of the year. So you know how much you purchased, and you know how much you purchase each month, and you know how much we use more in December than we do in November. So it's not that hard to figure that out. So that's my
That's-
question. That's what I'm asking.
right,
you.
and I can't answer that until PLM, the engineering firm that we hired to do a rate study. They're going through all the bills and the actuals and how we operate and everything, and then they're gonna tell us where the number should be.
Mhm.
They're actually finding that we have, so, should I bring this up? Yeah. So a couple of weeks ago, we had an engineer go through and go and look at the CTs. It's how the meter reads the electric being used. And we found that a lot of the meters were out of calibration.
Hmm.
So we were attributing, you take what you spend and what you receive. And if things aren't jiving, then you attribute it to like line loss.
Yeah.
Line loss. Well, what we found is that a lot of the line loss was meters that were out of calibration. So people were using the power, but we weren't charging appropriately for what they used.
Okay.
So we're getting on top of that.
Mhm.
And it's gonna be done on a more regular basis. Some of these meters have never been calibrated.
Okay, but I
So-
think that's probably,
So your numbers,
if I'm a user and
I'm
you
not
want to
saying-
tell me my meter hasn't been running well enough and you wanna fix my meter and then it's gonna show that I'm actually using more power, that's gonna drive my bill up. So I'm just asking the
well,
question
but
from the poor resident who's paying their bill.
You know-
That we cannot wait till the end of January when, if
Well-
people need to know now, people need to know.
but we also need the equipment working properly and metering properly.
Okay, I'm gonna,
You know what I'm saying?
oh,
Because-
totally. I used to be an
because-
electrical engineer, but I'm just saying, we raised it 30% last year. And we just increased this power purchase from 1.8 to 2.5. And I don't know what the actuals were for last year. I don't even know, I think the actuals for 2024 are 1.6, but I'm going from memory. So we need to know what the actuals were and what we think the power purchase is gonna have to be. And tell people, because then they can turn their thermostat down.
When I get those,
January.
when I get those reports, you'll know how to sit down
Love
and
it,
review.
perfect.
Okay.
Let's do it. Something simple.
Okay, but it's like your odometer in your car. If it doesn't read right, you know what I'm saying?
100%, but it doesn't make me
But
feel
I
good.
don't wanna say that we're gonna do we're gonna increase to make up for our shortcomings when it could be an equipment issue that's easily corrected.
Yeah, if I've been getting by with you guys not charging me enough because.
Maybe we've been
I want
overcharging.
you to correct it 100%, but if I'm just a regular consumer and my meter's working well, but you're gonna have to raise the rates because the
Oh,
power
you'd have to have a
that I'm
public
buying
meeting
from
and stuff.
Canada has
yeah.
gone up so much. If it's that reason, I want it to be super clear that it has nothing to do with our guys at Ashland Electric, has nothing to do
Right.
with their meters. It's only because Canada's charging us more
Well,
money.
that's why we're
That's the message.
doing what we're doing,
Yeah.
verifying all our equipment.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I love it. I will take you up on that.
Okay.
Christmas present.
Awesome.
I have just a procedural question. The default budget is just taking the gross budget from the year before and adjusting that. You don't look at it line item by line item. So,
They do,
Yeah,
okay.
but contractual,
that's some certain.
that's a some
Right.
certain. The rest of it isn't.
Like
Okay,
if it's a labor contract, right?
Mhm.
If
Right.
we know that we're now paying the guy 3%.
Right.
Signed up in his contract, it increases the default budget, doesn't it?
correct.
Mhm.
And I think the power purchase is in there too, no, right?
Okay.
That's the big one.
Mhm.
I think that's the main difference.
If it's a
Yeah.
contract.
Yeah.
The first year.
Okay, so I'm going to make a motion that we accept the default budget. As written. Our general fund is going to be $4,003,067. Our water default budget is going to be $399,086. Our sewer default budget is gonna be $837,113. And our electric default budget will be $3,553,000,
No, no, start the number again, 3 million. Yeah, sorry.
$3,553,636. Do I have a
I'll
second?
Second that.
So I have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, on to the proposed budget. What are your wishes? Do we want to go sheet by sheet? We want to do it the same way?
Pretty much. I don't think anything's changed since the joint meetings that you had with the budget committee, right?
I don't believe so. I haven't seen any changes. Are we comfortable doing it that way?
No, maybe not. I would just express, you tell me which way to go. I have a couple of concerns with the budget. They're not big and they're not overall. I'm concerned about the fire department line item about the ambulance transports. That's a significant increase. And, sometimes increases happen, but it went unexplained. And I'm concerned that the year-over-year increase that in the actual is either not understood, wasn't explained, and maybe there isn't any remedial action that's on the table so that we don't get a similar increase of that magnitude. Something changed in that. We, year over year, the demographics of the town didn't change substantially, yet we've got a significant increase in the number of transports that were requested. Okay. At this point, I don't know why. I want to know why before I can approve that fire department budget, because I think that it's too much money to go unanswered. That's point number one.
So
Point number
Charlie,
two.
to just let you know, the board signed a new contract with Plymouth earlier this year, which
Okay.
had a higher per transport fee. The fee went up. We still have to pay them a 50,000 retainer. So you pay 50,000 on July 1, and then each quarter you have to pay for the amount of calls. So that's why what Bob did was, when he calculated that, he took that new per transport figure into account. Also, it was negotiated that if we cancel within a certain time frame, I believe it's 6 minutes, we don't get charged for that. So we've been trying, that department's really been trying to make those responses happen as quickly as possible to avoid additional transports by Plymouth. And so by looking at the number of calls that we've been dealing with quarterly, that's why Bob put in the 240,000. And just as like a little refresh, when we originally had stepped away from the Plymouth agreement, that agreement had come in at 225,000, I believe. And that's when the board had said, no, we got to revisit this. And then we entered into a new agreement, which is a per transport call situation. So it's a variable, which we talked about earlier, right? So like the 190,000 is what was in last year, which is what's going to be in this year's defaults. But we're proposing 240 because that's more accurate to what we've been seeing as far as transport calls that we are paying for. So I hope that helps kind of clear that one up.
Well, Marissa, I mean, I know that there's, budget amounts and there's whatnot, negotiations with Plymouth, et cetera. But the specific number I'm concerned about is the increase in the number of transports, okay? Regardless of what charges were associated with them and who did it. It's too much year over year to attribute to, well, things change. No, that statistically something is underlying in that process. And I don't know what it is, but I'm thinking that somehow word has gotten around that there's free taxi service with our $370,000 ambulance. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's the kind of thing that drives those numbers the way I saw it go. And I'm just not comfortable for just letting it go and saying, okay, we'll see what happens next year. I'd like a better explanation from the fire department, town manager, and more importantly than that, I'd like to know what the remediation is, so that number of transports, which are very expensive to the taxpayers, can be better controlled. And so that I've got a problem with that budget.
So I'm reading here. 2021, they had 521 transports. 2022, 531. 2023, 583. 2024, 556. I don't see, I mean, we came down in 2024. And he's still going for 556. He's still using 556 as his number.
The overall cost went up 50,000.
That's because
Because
the
of-
contract changed.
The contract change caused a $50,000 change. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because now it's 13 something, 1384 or something. per call.
1373 per call.
If they roll it out and they don't get canceled within the 6 minutes, whether they transport or not, they get that 1384 84.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Maybe the fire guys need to start taking their radios home so they can,
well, I mean, that's a $50,000, a big increase. What, the contract was negotiated that way or written
it
that
was
way?
before I started. here.
Yes, I know, but I mean,
Yeah, the
Why?
contract was written that way. They
okay,
had an increase. They charged everybody an increase.
well, okay,
We probably we need to try to do more in-house and not utilize them as much.
yeah, I mean,
That's
how do you offset that cost? I guess is the question then, because we have $370,000 ambulance, so $50,000 increase, the increase alone pay for that ambulance in 7 years. So
If you can collect on all the transports.
Yeah.
well,
That's the other.
well, we know
issue
we
is,
can't. We're
Yeah.
getting stuck with the bill.
Yeah.
That's the problem. It's a deficit. It's expensive to run an ambulance at
Oh,
that
yeah.
kind of a deficit.
Mhm. That's why a lot of them are going out of business.
Can I ask a clarifying question on the same exact topic? On this exact topic? So I'm just looking at the spreadsheet and thinking about this from the taxpayer's perspective. I'm gonna get that Excel spreadsheet that they always get, right? So when they're looking at that, some of it's an accounting change, but they're gonna see 2026 is gonna look like 406,000 versus last year, like 190,000.
Oh, that's-
The year
yeah.
before of 116 versus, a couple years before, 66, 56. So they're gonna be like, what's going on with that line item? Sure, some is you decided to put some extra money in this,
No.
to take it from.
No.
someplace else.
No, well,
We came from, and this year we changed it from one box to the other on the account.
right.
But the poor taxpayer doesn't necessarily understand that, so it'll be very easy if we just show what it costs us to run the ambulance. How many calls we have to show that a little bit more calls because we're an older community, no problem. And that the reimbursements are X so that people understand, we don't pay the whole 400,000. It's only based on how many rides. Only 15% or 20% of the
Right.
rides get reimbursed, so we're on the hook for 65 or 70% of the ambulance budget.
That's the reason why we made the change in
To be
the
more
budget,
transparent,
Yes.
what
to
the
make it
actual
more
cost,
transparent.
it's not buried in the fire budget anymore.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
But I mean, people still.
You gotta get over that threshold, get the taxpayer to understand that's why we did what we did. So it's more transparent, this is the actual.
Yeah.
And I think we could tell them, you can't even look at the old numbers anymore because the accounting has changed. I think we can say that. I think that's honest, but I think we do have to show what's getting reimbursed, because what's not getting reimbursed gets paid for by the taxpayer. So a 35-year-old person who has kids in the school is paying X dollars for those ambulance rides through her property tax bill, right? So that's who we're advocating for, because people just need to understand what they're paying for.
Charlie, what's your other issue?
Part two is, has to do with Parks and Rec budget. And it's not so much the budget. It's come to my attention that we had a warrant article last year and there's a defect in that warrant article. We took a vote. I think, the Parks and Rec director said, that they wanted to have some idea of putting housing, a camper house or something of that nature. But the warrant article doesn't permit that, my
Yeah.
understanding.
We're just finding that out.
Okay, so
It's,
that-
it's written for maintenance.
Oh, to pay for that? Yeah, no, it doesn't say that.
Okay, and part two is there's an arithmetic problem in that the intent was to take profit, the revenue above the expenses and move that to an account to be used for
Maintenance.
Maintenance.
building,
Yeah.
whatever, I think was the intent. The reading that I understand we got is that regardless of whether Parks and Recreation generates revenue in excess of expenses, that 12% is still eligible to go into what is now the maintenance account. Am I correct on
I
that?
think it's the revenue of the campground, 12,
Only campground.
only the campground, 12% of the rental fees
Okay.
from the
yeah.
campground
Well, but
go into that.
okay, but I guess, we're talking about what we were trying to accomplish with this. And the idea from the Economic Development Committee in the recommendation was that an account would be created where all of Parks and Rec, the finances would be transparent, that it would be, all revenues would go into the account, expenses would come out of the account, and at the end of the year, there'd either be extra money in the account, which could get spent or there wasn't enough money in the account. And that means we have to adjust pricing or whatever, because the idea is that Parks and Rec should not be using money from the general fund. That was.
The Park and Rec is not using money from the general fund. We take care of ourselves. And
I know
what-
that's the case.
And what came from the economic development that came to the board was to put 12% into an account so that if something major happens, like what happened at the campground the year before, that there would be money in there growing.
And I don't believe that's what the Economic Development Committee put forward.
That is what they put forward.
What they put
We've
forward was
looked
that
at it.
If you took the pricing as was recommended, which I guess happened, that should, and all the sites were rented or leased, that should result in approximately 12% extra revenue, which
Yeah.
would be, that's how the Economic Development Committee developed the formula. But there was never an intent that whether or not the revenue was generated, like in this year, we were down for,
We were not
rentals.
down any money at all.
I know we were not down money because you had offsetting revenue, and that's fine. I'm not complaining about that. But going forward, this is not, from the point of view of the taxpayer, this is not transparent and easy to recognize. In the event that 5 years from now, we have a different Parks and Rec director and things aren't as smooth as they are today. I guess is my.
The warrant article was written we voted from what the economic development brought to us. We agreed to do it, we put it through to the taxpayers, and they voted for it. So what is happening is 12% of what is brought in from the campground only goes into a fund, so if something happens, we have it there, and we don't have to offset it with however much we need for whatever we need done. That is what was brought to us. That is what was voted on by us and the town people.
And the only difference is that the entire Parks and Rec budget should be no burden to the town taxpayer.
It is not, and it has not been.
I know it is not currently, because you have alternate sources of revenue and you're doing a great job. But that still is in my mind a defect going forward. That doesn't guarantee the taxpayer that there won't be some point where they are on the hook for any loss in revenue from the Parks and Rec department. My point.
Can I add to that specific question as well? So when we had the first meeting last year, you had a nice sheet and you showed the revenue for the campground and the expenditures for the last 10 years with the memo that you wrote. I have it.
It's for the whole department, not the campground.
It's for the whole Parks and Rec department.
Mhm.
So I think you used to run, I don't have it in front of me, but it was like $10,000 or $20,000 excess surplus. And then the last few years, it was a little bit less. And then I don't know what it was the last exact years. But I think the question is for the taxpayer can you just make it a little bit more transparent about the revenue from the campground, revenue that comes from the little programs, which you know is tiny, to just show the taxpayers that they are not funding anything associated with that campground, because that'll help you also make sure that you have the proper rates or that you're managing it as a business that doesn't come.
I understand totally.
It's gonna get really tight here really quick.
Right.
What it is. And everybody loves the campground and the beach and we want to keep it that way.
And when we do our budgets, we do have that. Does everybody in the town get to see it? Probably not, but if they want to come to these meetings, they'll hear it or go back and read it. We go through them line by line. I mean,
I think that's okay.
do we need to do that at the meeting that we have with the whole town, we'll be there forever and a day.
Well, I would just say, just, playing off from Michelle's comments, that, I mean, it would be nice if the department issued for the campground, for example, revenue, expenses, and blended that in with the overall parks and rec, the summer camp and
Probably put it on the website. or
right,
something.
and so that
Yeah.
we could look at.
I mean, we get the revenue sheet every month, Marissa prints out.
Yeah.
And it has all that stuff on there. I mean, if you just want it on the website, I'm sure we can figure out how to do that
Yeah,
somehow.
well, you know.
If that's, I mean, I don't know what else I can do.
They just have to have a super simple format.
Yeah.
I'm looking at my spreadsheet here and it's just missing the revenue piece, but you might just wanna roll it up to a high level. There's the revenue.
Yeah,
It's not
pretty,
that
pretty
much revenue.
simple, because people don't like reading too much, it gets too complicated.
No,
Yeah.
our printout, we'd have to scale it back.
Right, it
Layman's
combines some
terms,
things,
basically.
summarize
What,
it.
what she's talking about is it used to say, like, I don't know, the budget was 120 and I spent 95. And that's easy enough to do, but then you don't get all the little things. You know what I mean? You just want, this is what I had for budget and this is what I spent.
Well, you can,
Easy enough to do.
yeah, you can simplify it,
Your
like
revenue.
the
But
beach, expenses, revenue, campground expenses, revenue, summer program expenses, revenue.
In total.
Yeah,
Parks and rec.
And
yeah,
in total, yeah.
yeah,
Revenue, expenses,
less is more.
and also I think there's an interest in, are we
I
charging
can-
the right amount at the
We'll
campground?
do that up there. Then you can sign off on it.
I mean, I have all the information and stuff. That's not how the new program worked, to have that come out.
Well, we're just gonna, we're just kind of numbing it down a little bit so it's more palatable to the layperson that doesn't work with our sheets. You know, they can just have a few lines to look at to get to the number that they're looking for.
You're looking at summary information.
Instead of 12
Yeah.
pages, it's gonna be a one pager.
Yeah,
And then I'm assuming we're not putting, structures on the campsites because it's not permitted in for the use of revenue, so we're not doing that, is
We're
that?
not doing it with that money.
Okay, so we have other ways of funding it?
we'll find out.
Work in progress.
Yeah. Okay, so
All right.
let's get back to the budget here. Do we wanna try to do just the total budget, or do we don't wanna go through piece by piece?
I'll do the total if the rest want to do it that way.
Everybody comfortable with that?
Mhm.
All right. So I'm gonna break these down. The general fund, the total budget for the year is $4,120,558.
$800.
800.
$858. All in favor, or I'll make a motion that we approve the general fund budget.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Water budget. The town manager's water budget is $408,368.65. I'll make a motion to approve that budget, that price.
Second.
Have a motion and seconds everywhere. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Sewer budget, town manager sewer budget is $847,327. And I'll make a motion to approve that budget. Do I have a motion and a second? Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Electric budget is $4,125,826. And I'll make a motion to, and I shouldn't say approve the budget, recommend the budget.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Motion carries. This can go on to the budget committee. Okay, Kendall's not here. He wanted to talk
Oh,
about
CIP.
CIP.
Yeah, he wants to get the CIP program going again. There was an active CIP committee.
Yeah,
So. Bye, Marissa. Sorry. So, yeah, this. Yeah, I didn't bring it. I don't think I didn't bring an email.
let's just table it till next meeting.
Yeah, we'll do it on the 9th.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he has a
15th.
meeting. You're gonna move
15th.
forward. They have a meeting, Thursday. Planning board does.
Oh, okay.
I can just let them know that we've tabled it, but it looks like it's gonna go forward.
Okay.
It's just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Good.
Sorry about that.
So next thing on my agenda is adjournment. Does anybody got anything else they want to talk about tonight?
I want to oppose adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're out of here, folks. Have a good night.
Yep.